PDAC, and let's talk to Rick Van Niewenhuyse. He's the President and CEO of NovaCopper, which is developing 2 high-grade copper projects in Alaska. Hi, Rick.
Hey, James, how you doing?
Good, how you doing?
See you again.
Thanks for doing this.
You bet.
Good, so what's new with NovaCopper? What's going on?
Well, we're going to stay focused on developing our 2 big projects in the Ambler Mining District in Alaska. Okay. We have the one that we're focused on right now is the higher grade of the 2. It's a 6% copper equivalent deposit. Copper, lead, zinc, gold, silver. Right. So most of the value is in the copper and zinc, but a good contribution from the precious metals as well. Okay. It's called Artic. It's 30 million tons of 6% equivalent, open pittable in an open pit scenario. So we're focused on advancing that project to a pre-feasibility level of study. Last year we spent $5.5 million doing an infill drill program, converting inferred resources over into measured indicated. All the drill holes hit what they were targeted to hit, good thicknesses of high-grade copper zinc mineralization. Okay. Typical intersections, 20-30 meters of anywhere from 3 to 7% copper and 5 to 10% zinc. So, plus the precious metals. So this is a very high-grade, high-quality deposit. In the world today, when most mines are averaging about 0.6% copper, 10 times that obviously is a very high-grade deposit.
Good stuff. So northern projects, 2 of the big issues that come up are First Nations social license and infrastructure. Yep. Tell us where's NovaCopper positioned on those?
Yeah, so in Alaska we have the native corporations were formed as a result of the Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act, which was passed back in 1980. This formed 12 for-profit native corporations that were represented from the various regions. In our area, in our region, it's the Nana Corporation. Okay. There are about 14,000 Inupiat Eskimo who live in and around Kotzebue and up the Kobuk Valley where we're working. Okay. So there's 12 villages, and they're all represented through this corporate organization called NANA. Okay. We have a partnership with NANA. NANA also owns the Red Dog mine, which is the largest zinc mine in the world. It's been operating for 25 years, so NANA understands mining.
So they own it, Teck
they
operates
own it. Teck operates the asset. The mine has contributed about $1 billion in royalties to the Alaska Natives. So, and about 60% of the jobs at Red Dog are from NANA shareholders. Okay. So they understand mining, they get it, it works well for their culture. Working 2 weeks on and making a good paycheck, but also getting 2 weeks off to spend with family and hunting and fishing and practicing a more traditional lifestyle. It's a nice combination. Mm-hmm. So we have a partnership with NANA, particularly on the Bornite project, but we consolidated the whole land position. Right. Our state mining claims plus their privately owned lands into what controls most of the Ambler Mining District. This is a 100-kilometer long district. So, the Alaska Natives are partners in advancing this project. So it's
interested in seeing it go forward.
Good working situation.
How about the infrastructure and the road piece?
So another partnership that we developed there a number of years ago was with the basically with the state of Alaska through what they call the Alaska Industrial Development Export Authority. So this is a state-owned development bank, and their mission in life is to invest in infrastructure. Okay. Now they don't use their money, they actually use other people's money by issuing low interest bonds. Okay. So back to Red Dog, in the mid-80s, ADA took on the responsibility of building the road and the port facility to make Red Dog a reality, the mine a reality. They invested in the neighborhood of $260 million back in 2084, I think it was, 85. Okay. Wow. And then Teck, the mine, paid paid a toll, or usage toll, to use the road and the port. Okay. And paid that off.
So again,
low interest bonds. Yep. Bondholders financed the whole thing. It wasn't financed with public money. Right. So it's, the public-private partnership.
Creative financing, yeah.
The same model is going to be used here for the Ambler access road. Now we don't need a port because we're going to truck our equipment and our concentrates down to the port of Port Mackenzie there. Okay. So when this road's built, and ADA's taken on the responsibility of permitting it, and they'll build and operate it. Yep. We'll truck it down to Fairbanks, put it on the rail, and the rail goes to the port. Okay. So that gives us year-round access.
Oh,
and that's a big difference from Red Dog, which only has access 2 months of the year when it's not frozen.
Right.
We certainly have a lot of copper, but we also have a lot of zinc and we have a lot of gold and silver. So sort of in recognition of that fact, we thought if we focus people more on the fact that we're not just about one metal, we're about 3 or 4, but quadrilateral didn't sound all that great, so we went with trilogy.
What?
So it's really in recognition of that. And
what's the breakdown, Rick, as far as percentage copper?
So
zinc?
for Artic, it's about 65% copper, 30% zinc, and the balance is precious metals.
Okay.
Bornite's mostly copper, but there's a little bit of silver and cobalt. So the trilogies may be different depending on the deposit.
So copper prices have still fairly low, compared to certainly any time in the last 10 years. But gold has come up, copper hasn't sort of followed. What's your sort of long-term view on copper in the next couple of years?
Well, actually, I mean, it's interesting. Copper's moved up 10% from $2 to $2.20,
right?
And our stock's up 300%.
300%,
so
okay.
If you want to leverage story to copper, I mean, we're leveraged just because there's interest in copper now, whereas 3 months ago there wasn't.
Okay.
But
pounds in the ground.
So it's pounds in the ground, and they're high quality pounds in the ground.
Right.
But to get back to your question on where do I see the markets going, there's a real dearth of good projects in the world, and copper production is being driven by the declining average grade of what's being mined around the world. Right. The best example is probably Codelco, Chilean, the major Chilean copper producer owned by the state-owned agency.
Yeah.
They have to invest $25 billion over the next 10 years to maintain their level of production.
Just to maintain?
Just to maintain, not to grow it, to maintain it.
What kind of average grades are they?
Well, they're going down from what used to be 1% copper down towards 0.5% copper.
Wow.
And because a mill is a fixed throughput, when the grade goes down, you produce less copper unless you invest more capital to add another mill or to build a new one.
Right.
So that's what's going on in the business.
Okay. Now, what's sort of the plan on when you might go into production?
Well,
tentative.
We have a lot of work to do. We want to complete the pre-fees. We want to get back to doing exploration at Bornite and bringing that whole project, seeing the synergies of the two projects together. We would see over the next 2 to 3 years as the objective there to complete a feasibility study and then initiate the permitting process for the mine. And that actually dovetails pretty nicely with the progress we see being made on the road. So.
Okay. Why NovaCopper?
Well, because it's high grade, it's in a safe jurisdiction, and we do have catalysts in terms of the potential growth of adding pounds of copper at Bornite. I mean, we're already at 8 billion pounds of copper. We step out another couple of hundred meters, it's very easy to see 10 billion pounds of copper. That's half of Mount Isa, which is one of the best copper deposits in the world. They've been mining copper there for 80 years.
Okay.
That's not a bad place to start.
Right.
So I think there's plenty of catalysts, and when you consider the grade and the jurisdictional safety of working in Alaska and North America, rule of law, I think all those things come together to give shareholders a pretty compelling story about why they should be looking at NovaCopper versus somebody else.
Right. Okay, so after this run, what's NovaCopper's market capitalization and how much cash do you have?
Yeah, we're about 15 million cash, and market cap is right at about 60 million.
Okay. Good stuff.
60 cents.
Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Good to see you again. Yeah, thanks for coming by.
Take care.